Hi everyone, it's Simon here from High Playing Games. Hope everyone having a grandiose day. This is Prismata, a game that's in early access at the moment. It's like a collectible card game, but not with the collecting of the cards. It's very difficult to explain. And this will be not my first attempt to try to show you how this game works, because I've done it a few times beforehand and I was like, I'm not showing off this game very well. So, although it's in early access, quite a few things are available in it. You've got a campaign mode where you've got episode 1 of 5 available. Everything else is kind of coming out in the future, which is fine. And this goes through a story mode of showing you the ropes of the gameplay, like at its very core. However, you start off essentially with only a few different unit blueprints that you can. Units are essentially cards that you then place in the battlefield and then have a battle against each other with, and each one has its own different stats, currency, what it can do, what it can't do, and so on and so forth. And combat training strangely unlocks after you've done campaign episode 1, but it's to show you some of the more different types of things about how you defend, how you organise an attack. What I will say is that the campaign and the combat training are actually quite difficult if you think that you can just steam in and do different stuff. So yeah, worthwhile kind of doing those to really understand the game itself, which I think is where I'm still struggling. You can also watch other people's games in progress if they're live streaming them. So yeah, it's all great, and you can catch up on Twitch live streams. There's a global chat as well. Plenty to do. So I'm going to dive into a battle with a basic bot with simple strategies. And what it will do is it will randomly calculate a collection of cards for you to play with, and it will be out of all the things that you've unlocked as you go along. So all of the cards that you have are available here, and you can see how much they cost in terms of money, and or in addition what other types of resources that they cost. So electricity, the green stuff, the blue stuff, the red stuff. And you'll have 2 tiers of this. And depending on what you do, types of battles, and you can set this up all customizable, you can bring in lots of different ones. So even though I've won against the basic bot a couple of times beforehand, each one will be different, because as you defeat bots and level up through XP, you unlock more cards to play with. So it keeps it on the ground. So we're on this side, opponents on the red. You can see each card has health, and they can flip between a defensive stance and an attack stance. Some of the cards can, at least anyway. Your turn's down the bottom here, and let's dive in. So I'm going to collect all the money from my drones. Drones give you dosh, essentially, and then that kind of decides what you then want to build and go for next. So for me, I'm all about let's try and get some money, so I'm going to grab in some more drones and end my turn. That then passes the play but, this little green and thing back and forth. Hello bot. And they've done exactly the same thing as me. So I'm going to collect up all of my coins again, and this time I'm going to do 2 drones and an engineer, because the 3 engineers will then give me 3 bolts of electricity. And the electricity, the red stuff and the blue stuff, essentially you can only keep those for the turn that you're in, and if you don't use that resource it's lost, whereas the green and yellow you can kind of build over time. So I'm going to do that because that will keep us in play. And then what you want to essentially do is decide which resource you want to try and go for and gather first, and what's going to be your plan of attack. And quite often I kind of watch what they're doing. So they're going for a conduit, which gives you green stuff. But they have less engineers, so they're not going to be able to deal with electricity nearly as quickly as me. So they're going to go for the green. What have we got? Oh, we've got a gauze fabricator though, which can be useful. I don't want to. And you've got vivid drones, which can consume actual drones and then create like 3. So if I go for one of those, yeah, that'll take out 2 of my drones, but then I'm going to have more coinage coming in next time round, if that makes sense. So let's go for that. And then what I'm going to do is we'll grab 2 conduits and let's go hell for leather on the green stuff. Because we're very much in this like resource phase. Gorge charge. Okay, they want to do it. They want to do aggressiveness. That's fine with me. So I am going to hoard all of my coins again. But what I am going to do is build a blast forge, because that will start us getting in some blue. I'll get in 2 drones for more money. Yeah, I'm happy with that because I've still got 3 on my defense. So the opponent is now going to try and hit me, and they will do with 1. When you're being defensive, so long as their attack does not overwhelm your defense, and the defense is what's on the shield here, you get to pick where that goes. So I'm quite happy for that to kill off an engineer. But as you can see, all of your cards, you only get a certain amount. So you have to be a little bit like, am I sure about this? And this is where, like, do you want to keep drones as defensive? So you don't have to take all of your coins. I do for the majority of the time. But look, they've now built out some gauze stuff here. So they've now got the attack of 2. So what I'm going to do is build up a wall, because a wall gives me an attack of 3, but it costs me 5 coins in one of those blue things, which is why I built that blast forge to begin with. So yeah, you need to kind of think, how am I going to go about doing this long term to kind of decide, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... What am I going to do? I'm going to build a vivid drone again, but then I'm going to build also a second blast forge so that I can now mine 2 per turn. So the opponent will have 2 attack. Now the wall will be more than sufficient because it's got 3 in its health, so it will absorb 2, and with those kind of defences, if you... Sorry, the gauze cannons, you can see they've got actual health on, same with the conduits, but the walls and the engineers and drones, if you don't completely subsume all of their health, then they just absorb it and keep going, which is why that wall is handy there. I'm going to pull in all of those drones again. Okay, so we're up to 2 now, so that's good. And then what I'm going to do, because we've now got 3, I want to build another engineer. I'll get another couple of those in. And then I'm going to build an animus. I think. No, I don't. No, I don't. I really should, but I'm not going to. Because we're okay for now. No, let's go straight in for a steel splitter. And commit. I'm going to go for an animus in a minute. So this now gets us free. So what I'm going to do is do an engineer and then a wall absorption, because then the wall stays. But now look, they're up to 6. So I'm going to have to start to really think about how am I going to aggressively attack what's going on, especially whilst they've got no walls, which is good. So for me, what I now want to do is build something called a gauze fabricator. So what this does is it automatically churns out 8 gauze cannons so long as it stays alive. So we're going to need to make sure that we've got enough walls and such to keep that interested in the future. So I'm going to build a secondary wall and we're going to go straight in for an attack. So we have one attack. It gets rid of that engineer because that engineer was on defense, and that's fine. So we've now got 6 that we need to deal with. So I'm going to do the wall to kill the wall, kill the engineer, but then that soaks up 2. Hope that makes sense for people. And now this fabricator is going to start pushing out gauze cannons, and what this will start to do is massively help what we're doing in terms of greenness. So we can push out another gauze cannon there, which is great because we've got the 2 conduits pulling out stuff. Now what do I want? So they're on 7. Do that. That'll be fine for now. And then that becomes an attack to overrun the defences, and once that happens, essentially that now has no defence left. Ooh, okay, hang on. Let me dive back. It does give you helpful warnings, so the enemy could destroy all your defences. Yeah, that's true, actually. It's because that Tarsi is there. Ugh. Yeah, go for it. Let's be aggressive. So that gets rid of all of our defensives. The engineers thankfully come into play now. But now look, now we've got 2 defense before we even apply the steel the steel shifter, you know what I mean. Okay, so we're fine in terms of money. What we're not fine with is actual resource. So I'm going to build a wall. Build a wall! Because look, now they're up to 9. I'm going to build gauze cannon and an animus. Let's get the animus out there. And yeah, something tells me we're going to have to really think about defense because we've only got 8 in terms of defense. Right, let's get rid of the animus. Let's get in a second wall. We can overrun our defenders, which is great, and then let's get rid of that Tarsia, which you can only start to do when you've overrun people's defences. So they've now got 8. So I'm quite keen to do that. So now we're up to 4. Let's pull in our money. But look, we're going to run out of walls soon. So now I do really want an animus in there. Yeah, do it. Overrun. So those two were on defense, so that assigns a damage. Ah, crumbs, that's under construction. Right, I'm going to start getting rid of... Let's get rid of the vivid drone, because that gives him 2 things. So I don't want him to basically start kicking my booty. So the Animus is now producing stuff, which is great. What I want, though, let's pull that in. So let's produce a Hellhound. Let's get that in straight off the bat. That produces an Engineer, which is handy for us. Let's also get in... let's get in a wall. A Tarsier and a drone. Then we've got 1, 2... oh, we're going to be in trouble, aren't we? But let's proceed to damage. So we can... oh, that's still under construction, so let's get... oh god, that's going to be live in a couple... ah. Let's do that. So that's now got 8. That's going to seriously dent everything, but not to worry. Look, we're now up to 7. And this is what is really tricky about this game, is you're always on a real knife edge, and I really feel like this game is really well balanced, because every single decision that you make feels like it's going to absolutely send you tits up, potentially. Which is fun. Right, so let's get those in, because that constructs an Engineer, which is also one for defense. Christ, they're up to 12 now. Ugh. And what it means is that when you get random cards in, you can't rely on a very specific tactic then after that. We are absolutely buggered. Do another Engineer, we're going to have to, aren't we? Proceed to damage. Let's do that. 1. Oh, can't get rid of that yet. See, if we go for those, I feel like if we just go straight in for those at the deep end, that is going to massively help us longer term. Not now though. Yeah, look. Youch. That was unhelpful. Let's get our drones in and see how we're doing with coins. Lots of good now. Okay, so we need that wall. Wow, but then the wall stops us from everything else. Let's get the... Let's get the rhino in. And a Tarsier on the way. Let's go aggressive. So again, we can overrun our defenders because they've only got the one. I want to get rid of that because that is going to be an absolute mish. So again, oh look, thanks for the game. The basic bot has decided that it's going to concede victory, and I can see why it's doing that actually, because we've broken the back of it, even though I've barely got any dosh left. So we're going to continue on anyway, just so that I can show you how this will all kind of work. I do find that it does like to give in quite quickly. So let's go for this again. And proceed for 8 damage. So I want to go buy. Because this ends up becoming a bit of a because we have no dosh, that's why. Ooh, actually, this is going to be quite interesting then. Right, proceed to damage. Yeah, we're going to win regardless. We've completely buggered this up though, but yeah. Proceed to damage. Let's see, what can we do? Yeah, so we're going to win because we've just basically got more going on. So we can overrun the defenders by... Oh. Yeah, it's going to have to be that, isn't it? And then let's get rid of one of those. This is the first time where I've actually done it so that we're going to have to like really genuinely just get stuck. That's quite funny. Proceed to damage. So this can end up as a draw. And now it's stuck because it's having to defend. It can't actually kill us off now. So proceed to damage. Bye bye. We could have claimed victory a wee while ago, but I like to see something through to the end of its conclusion. So that was probably the worst battle I've ever done in my life. But there you go. So we now get an Immolite. Again, cannot do anything until turn later. And then it can pay in red currency to get attack. So... Oh, and a new avatar as well. So you can analyse exactly what happens as things go over both sides. Oh, hang on. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me dive out from that. Leave. But it will go over kind of what you've done. You can then redo those replays again. And as you'll see, new blueprints are now added to my collection. So if I'm saying about good points and bad points about this, because that was probably not the best way of showing this game, I wished that there was more explanation on how the attack and defensive stuff kind of works, and I guess you'd find that out more in combat training. But these combat training exercises are so tightly done that there's only really one or two ways of getting through stuff, and because when you then go out into the real world of battles, it randomly picks all of the standard set plus extra stuff for you. Everything is kind of the same, so you kind of have to think about how are your cards actually going to integrate well with each other, and that's what makes, like, when you watch other people's stuff really, really well. So these people that are on here now are ranked 26 or 28 in the world, so you can kind of see really how different stuff is going on, and they've got all of these different types of mechs, and they've also turned it up so that actually you've got to be very quick in your battle. So I'm just going to shut up and let you watch this. Oh, over already. Let's view the replay. Oh, that got me an achievement. So I'm going to shush, and you guys can basically enjoy something in full action now that I've explained it, and off and away you go. So there you go. Very much different game, isn't it? Compared to what I was showing before. So let's leave that. But you can grab those replay codes and enter in and actually watch how things are done. So I recommend that if you're going to get into this game. Seems really deep, really enjoying it, but oh my god, my brain. So yeah, Prismata available in early access now. Plenty to do whilst it's in there though. Bye for now. This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.